Hello, welcome to Livestock Clinic. My name still remains the same, Mr. Benanti. You can call me the livestock technician. Okay, so our previous videos we looked at the general overview of what poultry production is all about. And then we talked about the first thing you're supposed to consider targeting your land, which is putting up a structure where your birds are going to stay. So today we are going to look at the next item, which is the feed you are going to depend on. That will enable them to grow, then produce the various products that you would want from them. Okay, so when we say feed, so as a material gotten from a combination of several materials which contain nutrients that enables the growth and production that enables the growth and production of livestock. So in this case we are talking about poultry. So when certain ingredients are put together based on their the nutrients they contribute, we are able to form feed, which when the livestock takes it, or when poultry takes it, or when your poultry birds takes it, they are able to get all their nutrient requirements, which will enable them to grow and then produce the products that you would want from them. Now let's look at certain considerations you're supposed to consider before you start preparing your feed, or before you know the particular feed you're supposed to give to your birds. There are two most important considerations you're supposed to consider. So the very first one, which is the most important of all, is the nutrient requirements, which I'm going to talk about them, and then the type of bird you're going to rear, whether it is broilers, layers, or maybe dwarf peppers, and then the stage of the life cycle of the bird, whether it's a day old chick, whether it is growing, whether it is laying. So these stages will inform the type of feed you are going to give to your birds. So now let's look at the first and the most important component you would look at, which is the key important nutrients that you are supposed to consider, which it is supposed to be in the feed. Its absence may cause a whole lot to the bird's health and its productivity. Okay, so the very first nutrient we are going to talk about is the energy component of the feed. Okay, so birds, just like we human beings, also require energy to carry out their daily activities, to breathe, to even eat, to walk, to run away from predators, to even lay eggs, and all the activities you can think about. Do pretty much a whole lot of activities, sunbathing, perching, and all that. They require energy to be able to carry all this behavioral parameters. So energy is very, very important. And when you provide your feed and there's no energy in there, then you are pretty much killing your birds. Energy is very important. Okay, so let's now look at ingredients that could give us this energy that is needed by this, or that is needed by our poultry birds. So we can have ingredients such as maize, we can have wheat, we can have oats, we can have sorghum, we can have millet, and so forth and so on. We can also have byproducts from these ingredients I've already mentioned. So we can have wheat bran, we can have maize bran, we can have rice bran, we can have millet bran, and then we can also get these energy sources from root tuber crops such as cassava, yam, sweet potato, Irish potato, and then the rest you can think about. So basically these are ingredients that will give us the energy components of the feed. So like I said from the definition, there are several materials that we put together, and each component plays a very key role, plays a very important role in making the feed meet the nutrient requirements of the birds. So if one ingredient is out, it kind of make the feed imbalanced, and for that matter, any bird that takes it might be deficient in that particular nutrient that is not there. Okay, so now that we've been able to establish the energy aspect of it, so now let's look at the next one, which is the protein component. So after the energy component, protein is next, and protein is very important. The eggs they are going to lay is made up of protein, and then growth is enabled by protein, tissue building and what have you. Them growing from day 0 to the stage where they start to lay for you in their layers, the stage where they are ready as broilers, is made possible because of the protein component of the feed. And if they are to lay and lay frequently for you, it's the protein that does it. And many other maintenance stuff that is done in the body of the animal is made possible because of the protein component. Yeah. So pretty much protein component is very, very, very important. So now let's look at certain ingredients that also gives us protein in the feed. So we can talk about cowpeas, we can talk about peas, we can talk about soybean meal, and then there are also byproducts that can also be gotten from these materials that I've mentioned. So we can have cottonseed cake, we can have granite cake, we can have coconut cake, we can have copra cake, and then we can also have certain leafy vegetables that also gives us the protein, which we can have cassava leaves, we can have cowpea leaves, we can have alfalfa leaves. So all these gives protein. They are ingredients that can contribute protein to your feed. So you can pick any of them, balance it with the remaining ingredients, and then you get your complete feed. We can also have protein sources from animal, like fish meal, meat meal, bone meal, blood meal, and even termites. So all these also are protein source ingredients which can be incorporated into the feed. The next nutrient to look at is vitamins and minerals. This component is needed in minute form, but then plays a very crucial role in the life of your birds, because certain physiological activities that happens within the bird is made possible because of these nutrients. So enzymatic activities that happens there, and then the general health of the bird is taken care of by this nutrient. So if you deny your birds with these vitamins and minerals, it makes it difficult for them to grow in the first place, not to talk of giving you the products that you want. The minerals components also strengthens their bones, and then it forms part of the eggshell. So if it is not there, you'll be laying eggs that will not have strong shells, and you can have broken eggs because you won't get market for broken eggs. So you would want your eggs to be strong so that you'll be able to sell them. So these nutrients are very important. So we can get some of these nutrients from fresh fruits, fresh plants, seeds, other nuts. And then the most important minerals you can that is needed is calcium and phosphorus. The calcium helps in bone, stronger bones, then form part of the eggshells, so it's very important. And the phosphorus helps in the physiological component of the animal's body. The last ingredient that is needed in minute form is salt. Okay, most farmers don't consider salt, but salt is very important. You are not supposed to add a lot of it, just something small, because it plays an important role in the cells of the birds. It keeps the blood fluid balance. So it's very, very important. So all these ingredients that I've mentioned, definitely you have some in your respective countries. Probably you have others that I don't have knowledge of. So what is important is you knowing very well that he has the respective nutrients. You could take these ingredients that you have, send it to any nutritional lab, and let them nutrient profile of it, and then you'll be able to know if it's you'll be able to know if it is an energy ingredient, protein source ingredient, a vitamin source, mineral, or what have you. So you may have certain ingredients that I don't. So the examples I give are the ones that I know. Though I'll be giving list of possible ingredients that other people use, but the dominant ones that is known by all is the one that I use. So I'm going to give another list containing a whole lot of it. Perhaps some of them may be in your country and probably they are the ones that you are using. So the baseline is then the ingredients should be able to provide a certain nutrient, either a combination of nutrients or just one nutrient to contribute to your feed being balanced. So now let's look at the type of feed we can have. So we can have a meal. So a meal is when you grind one ingredient into powder form. By powder, I don't mean smooth powder. It should be broken down from its core stage to smaller particles. That is what I'm talking about. So when you break your ingredients down to smaller particles, you get a meal. Yeah. So you can have a maize meal, a rice meal. You can have a fish meal. Yeah. So that is it. And then the next one is a mash. So a mash is when you combine these ingredients together, you get a mash. Let's say you have a formula, then you pick the various ingredients based on the formula you have and put it together to form a complete food. Then you get a mash. So with this, there are various ingredients, amalgamation of various ingredients. Okay, so this is usually what is sold in the market, put in bags, and this part of the world, that is what we use, the mash. Yeah. So from the mash we have pelleted feed. So with this, you take the mash, then you compress it in a machine into a little bigger size. So by so doing, each particular size or a particular particle contains all the nutrients. So in the case of mash, it's the various ingredients you put together. So you can see the various ingredients in the feed. You can see the maize, you can see the soybean meal, you can see the oyster shells, you can see the wheat bran, all mixed up. But when you go further to pellet it, you are kind of putting everything together, like gluing everything together. So when you take a piece of one pellet, it contains all the nutrients compressed together. When you give mash to your birds, the tendency of them perking on the bigger particle size is very high because they are first attracted to the bigger particles, so they will peck at that one. When their energy requirement is met, they might not feed on the rest, so they may end up not getting the remaining nutrients from the remaining ingredients, especially the vitamin sources, which are usually powdered from. So with the pellets, everything is compressed into pellets, so they are able to peck at the pellet is big enough and attractive enough to them. So when they peck each particle, they are able to meet all their nutrient requirements. But then the disadvantage with this one too is that you can only feed it to adult birds because the particle size are big, like 2.5 millimeters to 6 millimeters, so very big. Your day-old chicks cannot be able to feed on pellets. So another disadvantage of the pelleted feed is that getting the required mechanism or machines to be able to compress the feed to pellets is very expensive. So with the mash, you just have to get your ingredients, you grind them, you put them together, and you are good to go. But when you are dealing with pellets, you would have to compress this mash in machines to the pellets. So the machine becomes an additional cost for you. Okay, so let's now look at the kinds of feed that we have. So the first one is the chick feed. So when you bring your day-old chicks, the feed you give them till you move them from the brooder house. So it's called chick feed. And usually the protein content of this feed is very high. You see, at that age, they need a whole lot of protein to grow. So you would have to pay a particular attention on the protein content or the protein amount, and then reduce the energy content because at that age they don't need much energy. What they need is the protein. But I'm not trying to say they don't need energy at all. They need energy, but then the energy shouldn't be too much, but the protein should. So from the chick feed, we have the grower feed. So after taking them from the brooder house and then you send them to the grower pen, it's good you switch the feed to as well, so that here you can reduce the percentage of the protein. You know, the protein component is usually expensive, so giving it to them will not harm them, but then you will be running at a loss. They will take the protein and it wouldn't make any difference, but you'll be running at a loss. So at this stage you can reduce the percentage of the protein in the feed and then increase the energy content in the feed. So from here we have the layer feed. So at this stage your birds are ready to lay, and then you can decide to maintain the protein content as the grower feed, or you can reduce it small, even though they'll be needing protein for the egg formation, but at this age they don't need any protein for growth. So the feed that you are going to give them will be enough for the egg production. Yeah. And then with this feed you need to increase the calcium content in it, because they'll be needing more calcium to form the eggshells. Yeah. And then from here we have broiler starter diet. That is what you give them when they are day old till when you take them from the brooder house. Yeah. And as usual, the protein content should also be higher. Yeah. And then from here we go to the broiler finisher diet. So after sending them to their permanent last pen, or after taking them from the brooder pen and sending them to their permanent pen, you change the feed to, and you can decide to decrease the protein content, or you can maintain it just as the broiler starter diet contains. Yeah. And then from here we have another feed we call complete feed. So a complete feed is a feed that contains all the nutrients at their right proportion. So there'll be no need supplementing any synthetic nutrient to it. Yeah, so the feed is complete, so all the nutrients are intact. And then we have high energy diet. So with this feed, the energy content is very high, and it does two important things. If your layer birds are not feeding enough, you would have to, there will be the need for you to increase the energy content of the feed, so that the little that they are going to feed on will give them the required energy that they want. But if they are feeding normally, then you only increase the energy content when the environment is very, very cold, so that you'll be able to cut down some costs. Because if the energy content is not high and the environment is cold, they will eat a lot of the feed just to meet their energy requirement, because they will need energy to keep warm. But if you increase if they are feeding alright and you increase the energy content, they will feed a little and meet their energy requirements, which they can use to stand against the cold environment. So now let's look at the nutrient requirements of the various stages of the life of the bird. So with this, I'm going to put up a table on the screen, and then we will display all their nutrient requirements. So let's take chick for example, the amount of protein they will need, the amount of metabolizable energy they will need, the amount of amino acids, the amount of vitamins, the amount of minerals they will need. So all this for day-old chicks, layers, grower stage, broilers, and the various stages in their life cycle we put on the table and display it for your consumption. Now let's look at the various feed ingredients that we have. So here I'm going to classify them into cereals, seeds and byproducts, root tubers, animal products, and then we have green leafy products. So when we go to the cereals, we have maize, we have wheat, we have millet, we have sorghum, oats, we have maize bran, wheat bran, millet bran, maize of house, wheat of house, rice bran, sorghum, and then rice polishing. So all of this probably will be in your country, and then probably the ingredients you are using. So they are all components of, or they are all ingredients that can be used to prepare poultry feed. Okay, so now let's look at the seeds and byproducts. So we have groundnut meal, soybean meal, soybean itself, groundnut cake, cotton seed cake, rubber seed cake, cowpea, pigeon pea, chickpea, and then palm kernel cake. Now let's look at the root tubers. We have cassava, we have yam, sweet potato, we have sago, we have Irish potato, and breadfruit. Okay, so let's look at the animal products. So we have fish meal, meat meal, shrimp meal, bone meal, blood meal, and skimmed milk meal. Now let's look at grain leaves. So we have cassava leaves, sweet potato leaves, alfalfa leaves, napier grass leaves, water hyacinth leaves, and pangola leaves. Now let's look at feed formulation. So after getting all your ingredients, there should be a formula by which you are going to put them together, each of them together, to form a complete diet based on the nutrient requirements of the bird you are dealing with, whether it's for broilers or layers, or whether they are day-old chicks, growers, starters, finishers, or what have you. So you should get a formula that will inform you how to put these ingredients together to form your complete diet. So I'm going to give you several samples of the formula which you can rely on based on your case. So if I say case here, I'm trying to mean when you get your ingredients, if you have the resources to go and do analysis to see the nutrient component of these ingredients, it will be very laudable, because the nutrients in ingredients depends on the geographical location. So I am in Ghana here. Nutrient composition of our maize may be different from those in Nigeria and in other parts of the country. So ideally, if you have the money, you could take your ingredients, send it to a nutritional lab, and let them run nutrient analysis on them, so that you can see the energy components, the protein components, the vitamin components, the energy components of the feed. So based on that, you will be able to feed it into your formula, and then get your formulated feed, or get your formulated feed ready. Yeah, but if you don't have the resources to do that, there are a general analysis table which you can look at, and then know the protein content of maize, the energy content of maize, the energy content of soybean meal, the protein content of soybean meal. So there's a generalized analytical table for all the ingredients. But like I said, if the resources is there, it's ideal to take your ingredients and do the analysis and know the composition for yourself, rather than relying on the generalized one. But usually the generalized one to usually help farmers. At least it cut down cost, and mostly the difference in nutrients are not really, in most cases they are not significant. So you can use the generalized one to do your formulation. So I am going to make it as a PDF file. Whoever that will show interest in the comment section, I forward it to you so that you can take a look at it, and when you are doing your formulation, you can consider it. Look at maize and see the various nutrients you can find in it. Look at soybean meal, the various nutrients you can find in it. Look at fish meal, like that, for all the ingredients. Yeah. So the formulas are going to be given to you, and I'm going to make it for layers and the various stages in their life cycle, broilers, the various stages in their life cycle, so that, or maybe I am going to put all in the PDF, because that one too is going to be broad. If I'm going to make it into pictures and put it on the screen, it will be very broad. So if I add it to the other one and make it one PDF document, whoever that is interested can comment. Whoever that is interested can comment on this comment section, and I'll forward it to the person. But I'm going to give a sample on the screen for us to see. So this is basically about feed, and I am going to make an additional video to show you the amount of feed your birds will be taking on a daily basis, starting from day old to when they will start laying. And if it is broilers, the amount of feed they will eat on daily basis till the day you are going to slaughter them, so that if you are making a plan for your poultry production, it can inform you on how to allocate resources to the various components of the production. So there are a whole lot of goodies that will be given to you guys on this channel. You just have to stay tuned and make sure your notification bell is turned on, so that whenever our videos come, you can be the first to look at it and grab all the information that you can. The opportunity is still there. If we are not able to cover something that pertains to your situation, you can draw a notice on the comment section, and you can take a look at it, and if possible you can make a video on it. If it's large enough for us to make a video on, you can make a video on it for others to enjoy. But if it is too short, we can get the information across to you so that you can use it to solve your problem. So we are here for you guys. So let us know what your issues are. If I've gotten all the information over here, kudos. We are going to bring more. Alright, thanks for your audience. Bye.